Welcome back, scholars, to our Digital Academy. I am Professor Spark. Whether we are turning the pages of a timeless novel, our mission remains the same. Will today's sweep us into the concert hall? Let's find out together.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly glad you're here today, because we are diving into what is arguably the single most recognized piece of classical music on the planet, Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor, Opus 67. So let's just get right into it.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Short, 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 long. I mean, we all know it, right? Musically speaking, that's literally just G, 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 E flat. But how in the world do four simple notes drive an entire, sweeping musical masterpiece? Well, today, we're going to unpack exactly how that happens.
All right, let's jump into part one. Fate knocks at the door.
So this piece is really often called the Fate Symphony. And that famous four-note opening? That is our primary antagonist. It's the sound of fate, quite literally, knocking at the door. But here's the thing. It is so much more than just a catchy intro. This tiny, microscopic four-note motif actually permeates the entirety of a 30 to 40-minute symphony. It creates this profound sense of cyclic structure and unity that was just completely revolutionary for its time.
Moving on to part two, a composer's defiant stand.
Okay, so to really understand this music, we have to look at the man behind it. This piece belongs to Beethoven's middle period, which was a time of massively expanded ambition for him. He actually started sketching ideas for the Fifth around 1804, right after his Eroica Symphony. He got delayed by a bunch of other works, but finally wrapped up the composition around 1808. And the premiere? December 22nd, 1808. It was this absolutely freezing, under-rehearsed marathon of a concert in Vienna, a total logistical nightmare. Yet despite all of that, it gained immense acclaim pretty quickly, largely thanks to a super enthusiastic review by E.T.A. Hoffmann.
And the context of those specific years is absolutely critical here. Beethoven was suffering from increasing deafness. I mean, imagine that, a terrifying, devastating reality for any musician. He actually famously declared, "I will seize fate by the throat. It shall certainly not bend and crush me completely." So this music, it embodies his literal, very real struggle with losing his hearing, along with his fierce, unyielding artistic ambition.
Which brings us to part three, the heroic musical journey from darkness to light.
So let's lay out the roadmap for the musical battlefield itself. We're going to track this heroic arc across 4 steps, or movements. Step 1 is the Allegro con brio. Step 2 is the Andante con moto. Step 3 is the Scherzo, and Step 4 is the Allegro finale. Let's see how this whole struggle unfolds.
We kick things off with Movement 1, Allegro con brio, in C minor. This opening is terse, it's explosive, and it's written in sonata form. There's absolutely no gentle, polite introduction here. That fate motif just launches immediately, played fortissimo by the strings and clarinets. Boom, you are right in the fight from second one.
And this brilliantly sets up the conflict. On one side, you have this incredibly aggressive first theme, which is obsessively built right out of that four-note fate motif. It's a really concentrated struggle. On the flip side, you have the lyrical second theme in E-flat major, heralded by the horns. And these two sides just battle it out. They fragment and build tension through texture and dynamics, not just harmony. And then, right in the middle of this storm, during the recapitulation, there is this famous plaintive oboe solo. It's just a brief, solitary moment of respite, almost like a quick gasp for air, before the storm rushes right back in to close the movement.
Okay, let's take a breath and move to the second movement, Andante con moto in A-flat major. After the absolute fury of that first movement, this is our emotional breathing room. But it perfectly balances this gorgeous tenderness with a very undeniable underlying tension. Beethoven constructs this using a theme and variation structure. So he keeps varying the musical material with increasing ornamentation and these really dramatic dynamic shifts. That's how he keeps the forward momentum going. But if you listen really closely, he subtly incorporates that short, 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 long fate rhythm right into the background of the second theme. So fate hasn't actually left. It's just kind of waiting there in the shadows.
Which brings us right back to those shadows in Movement 3, the Scherzo, returning to the mysterious realm of C minor. Instead of a light, bouncy minuet, Beethoven gives us this dark, ominous opening theme, using that exact same fate rhythm. Then it builds into this really busy, energetic fugal trio section, before returning super softly with pizzicato strings. It creates this profound, almost spooky sense of unease.
And this brilliantly illustrates a major structural innovation known as attacca.
that literally means to proceed without a pause between musical movements. Beethoven doesn't even give the audience a second to cough or clap here. He creates a seamless, incredibly suspenseful transition, bridging that shadowy, quiet unease of the third movement directly into the finale. The tension just winds up tighter and tighter, until it absolutely breaks. The contrast here is so stark. You have the sheer, tense darkness of Movement 1 in C minor, pitted against the bright, celebratory light of Movement 4 in C major. The finale just explodes into a triumphant victory. And to achieve this unprecedented level of power, Beethoven actually expands the orchestra. He brings in trombones, a piccolo, and a contrabassoon. The narrative arc is completely resolved here as the struggle finally yields to this exultant victory.
Wrapping up with Part 4, an enduring, triumphant legacy.
So, this deeply personal journey didn't just define a moment in Beethoven's life. It permanently changed symphonic music forever. These specific structural innovations became a totally new benchmark. We get cyclic unity, tying everything together across the movements, massive orchestral expansion, and this dramatic, heroic narrative arc. The unprecedented emotional intensity he brought to the table here heavily influenced almost every single Romantic composer who came after him.
But you know, its legacy goes way beyond the concert hall. Check out this surprising historical fact. During World War II, that famous short, long motif perfectly matched the Morse code for the letter V, ... Because of this, the opening of Beethoven's Fifth became a massive global symbol of victory, and it was broadcast continuously across the world. Pretty incredible, right?
So, what does this all mean for us today? Well, we all know the motif. Those first 4 dramatic notes are everywhere. But have you ever actually sat down and listened to the ultimate triumph that follows all that struggle? I highly encourage you to find a reference recording, like the absolutely legendary performance by Carlos Kleiber conducting the Vienna Philharmonic, and just experience this complete journey for yourself from start to finish. You might just hear fate knocking in a whole new way. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.